Everybody, welcome back to the best conversation you are going to hear or have all day today, because I know it's been a long day. You've been having some boring conversations, but don't worry. Me and Henrique are here to make sure you have a great one, because this is SaviTalk, a show that's rooted in conversation. We talk about everything from identity security to rock bands to Kendrick Lamar, because that's what we do.
And dad jokes.
And dad jokes, right?
That's true. And David, this guy, man, I had dinner with him.
Okay.
I think the audience is gonna love it. And I think there are two types of guests in this show.
Okay.
Only two. Only two.
Only two.
Only two types.
All right. What are the two?
There's people that I know and people that I don't know. And which is funny, because when we have guests that I know well, I want to showcase the qualities and the things that I know. Hey, we should talk about this. And people that I don't know, we find it out together with the audience.
Exactly. But this one you know.
I know him.
But I don't know.
He's a cool guy.
Okay, well, let's get to it.
Rock and roll.
Here we go.
Guys, you are in for a treat. So today with me and today with David, we have Anthony Viggiano. Anthony, man, it's a pleasure to have you here in the show. And I know a lot about your history, what you did at Cigna. Right, Cigna, a big saving client, of course. So it's so much to unpack.
Yes.
But Anthony, let's start with basic stuff. So, where are you from, and where do you live today?
Sure. I grew up in Syracuse, New York, and for Cigna, moved over to Connecticut, where our headquarters is, and lived there. Been living there the last 17 years.
Awesome.
Really enjoy it.
Awesome. Connecticut. So before Saving, I was with Gardner. So Stanford.
Yep.
So beautiful. It looks like English vibes, right? So when you moved there?
2008.
2008.
Yes.
So are you a Knicks fan?
Nope.
Okay.
Red Sox.
Okay.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, Red Sox and Boston and
Gotcha.
yeah.
So you moved from New York before they could indoctrinate you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Buffalo, Syracuse is closer to Buffalo. So
you're tortured either way.
yeah, exactly.
Nice.
No good. But Syracuse University, that was our big sports venue.
Nice.
So love the college sports.
Awesome, man.
And before Cigna, so what brought you to this crazy journey of identity? So how did you start in that?
Yeah.
So we had a guest here in the show. Remember that guy? I said he was born into identity.
Right. Second generation identity.
So how about you? So what brought you into this, and how it started for you?
Yeah, so it really is chance. I happened to be working in the cybersecurity team around 2016, and I was doing public key infrastructure, so kind of identity related. And then what happened was there was a big combination, two large companies coming together, and there was reorgs, and people were moving around, and there was a lot of things happening, and I just happened to get reorged with my manager at the time, and he became the identity and access management leader. And then he came to me and said, "We need you to figure out how to do access reviews."
That's your new job now.
And that is my job. And I'm like, okay, well, what's an access review? And went from there.
It's kind of what happened to me. So identity came to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. And so today at Cigna, or previous job was Cigna, managing identity governance there, right? So tell me, what was that role about, and what was the scope of what you did at Cigna?
Yeah, sure. No, well, first, I just kind of left Cigna. Love working at the company. Wonderful place to be. The people are amazing. The mission to help millions of people.
So you're not burning bridges out there?
Nope, exactly. No, Cigna's a great place. And then the leadership, just my management and the higher level leadership, just leading the company in good places. And I've always enjoyed working with the people.
How many people were in your team?
I left with about 91.
Wow.
90 people doing governance. And so to get back to your
doing
question,
governance.
Yeah, exactly. Just the governance aspect of it. So we were responsible for performing the access controls.
Okay.
So operating the access reviews, ensuring the joiner, mover, leaver, the termination process, those things were operating well, role-based access controls, and then showing our auditors what we were doing and that we were doing everything correctly.
Awesome. So doing that, I can imagine you know everything about SOX. And
Well, I'd like to know.
And so before we jump in, but I think this is such, man, if we have to talk about an elephant in the room, is that nobody really likes compliance, and it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
But if you have to share, perhaps to the audience and to the listeners, one thing that you learn through that journey of compliance, what was there a takeaway or something? Say, oh man, if I knew about this 5 years ago, my life would be easier. What would that be?
Partnership in foundation. So compliance kind of is the foundation of security. You have to start with the policies. You have to say, these are the things that we're going to do. And so that's the foundation. Then you do those things. And yes, they help your security posture. They reduce risk to a certain level. And in order to achieve those things, you need to partner with the entire enterprise. You need to partner with the application owners who own controlling the access to their systems. You've got to partner with the managers that are actually going to be performing the access reviews or submitting the access requests. So you really need full engagement from the end-to-end enterprise to be successful.
That's amazing. So I think, and man, my apologies because English is not even my first language, but you're speaking perfect English.
Oh, thank you.
I've
been practicing.
He does too. Yeah, it's a big talker over there. But the question is, for me, what I could get from that advice, which I think it's a golden nugget, is, well, it's inevitable. You have to do compliance no matter what.
Right.
Organizations need to be compliant, but while you're going through that journey of compliance, take the opportunity to be safer or review your things with risk mitigation in mind. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the next level. And that's where I want to kind of go in the next step in my career is how do you improve security? Yeah. And that's kind of what we're talking about at the conference.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about technologies like ISPM, the security posture.
Yeah.
So that tool is going to help you reduce the footprint, reduce the attack footprint. So now there's fewer access, there's fewer people with the domain access. And then ITDR, now you're going to go out and threat hunt. Now you're going to look for where are the areas that we need to that are issues that we need to solve for. So those are the things that I'm really looking forward to achieving someday.
So I want to ask you a question, Rick, because we talked about this a couple of episodes ago, right? It was like me, Bird, Glazer, right?
Yeah.
In your words, what does identity security mean to you?
It means reducing actual risk, and it doesn't mean security theater. I really want to kind of differentiate those two things because sometimes it feels like our jobs is theater. It's putting on a show for the auditors, and are we really reducing risk? And we can kind of talk about what all that means. And then the security aspect is, well, how do I identify the risk, and how do I actually go after that? How do I reduce the footprint? That's what I think is.
But can we get away from theater? I think it's like
no, you have to.
You have to do it.
Unless it's a foundation. You know, so you can't start elsewhere. You got to start there for sure. And so that's why I don't want to say it's not important. And access reviews do add value to certain degrees, and all these things are important. But it's that next level that I think is really attacking the risk.
Right.
About ISPM and ITDR, right? I think I went through that journey when I was a Gartner, and being an identity guy forever. That's the only thing I ever worked with. I had to learn a lot about threat hunting, as I say, red teaming, blue teaming, and things that were not natural to the identity team. So did you have this type of conversations with your team at Cigna? How was that journey into infusing, if you will, cybersecurity concepts into the identity professional, or even to you as a practitioner in identity? Did you have any background in threat management and all kind of stuff, or?
Nope. No, and I think in a lot of companies, those two things may be kind of separate.
Yes.
And I think that is an area where a lot of companies are probably going to have to grow. And maybe this identity team is in cyber, and so you've got the relationships, they're closer. Maybe it's an infrastructure.
Yes.
So if it's an infrastructure, how do you, let's say you build the ITDR tool, well, now you got to get those alerts to the SOC. But you're the infrastructure team. So how do you build those relationships? And I think that's a big opportunity that you're right, is a lot of companies are gonna have to figure that out. And that's where I wanna build those relationships. I wanna have that all set up.
And Anthony, I have a vested interest in ITDR, because I was perhaps one of the people to blame for that acronym.
Right, thank you for that.
Not everybody says that. Right? But what do you think is the purpose of ITDR? And I love asking people that, because many people see that in different lenses and all. So what do you see this as, what's the value of ITDR? What is it helping identity with?
Right. So, kind of let's say put the foundation away. So we got the compliance, we got the governance, we're looking pretty good there, and we're meeting our requirements. So now ITDR, so now you want to find the threat. So for example, let's say you've got 1 million authentications hitting your authentication tools.
Yeah.
Well, you probably got plenty of capacity there, so maybe you don't even see that. It's not a compliance issue. It's not causing a performance issue, but perhaps that could be an indicator of problem. Maybe there's just somebody coded something poorly, or maybe there's a real-time attack. How are we going to detect that? And how are we going to solve for that? So that's one example of where ITR could be detecting those types of risks.
I agree. I also, when I was thinking of that concept, right, and we came up with that at Gartner, it was it's building this necessary bridge between SecOps, right, the security operations teams and the identity teams, because they were thinking so differently, right, and they had so much different goals as well. So identity was about all the prevention things, all the compliance things, and SecOps, man, we're fighting fires. So I also see ITDR as that bridge. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, cool. So one thing that I also want to ask you, man, is more about the Anthony Viggiano as a person, right, individual. And when I remember when I was looking up your LinkedIn profile, and have you ever seen his picture? It's a very sporty picture. You can see he's outdoors. He's wearing like this, I think it's a hiking gear or whatever. So tell us about that. So what's about life that excites you?
Yeah, no, I'd love to. That picture in particular was Mount Washington, the tallest mountain in the Northeast, which isn't very tall if you look at other parts of the country and the world. But, and all the cars in our area have the bumper sticker, this car climbed Mount Washington. Well, my wife and I climbed Mount Washington without the car. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, my wife, Whitney, we love doing outdoor activities.
I met Whitney.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, she's a kindergarten teacher, and she's just really the sweetest person. Yeah. So we love outdoor activities. We're trying to do hiking. We're going to try to do a backpacking adventure later this summer.
With kids? Or?
Not with the kids. So yeah, the kids, they don't have the endurance for the hike. So let's just say that's not their favorite thing to do, but they love mountain biking.
How old are they?
They're 15 and 11. And just this past Sunday, we had a race in Massachusetts. And my daughter, Lily, she's the 11-year-old. She podiumed for the first time. I mean, she got 5th place, won a medal.
Oof.
And this is not a participation trophy. This is you worked your butt off.
It's a real deal race.
In the mountains, by yourself, you versus all the mud that was out there and some of the other kids.
That's your 15-year-old.
This is my 11-year-old.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And my favorite part about the mountain biking, you're like, yes, it's one of my favorite activities. And the fact that I get to do that with my family is an incredible blessing. But she's learning grit. She's learning hard work. She's learning how to persevere to say, I don't want to climb this giant hill in front of me, but I'm gonna lower the gears and I'm gonna go do it. And I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna sweat, and then I'm gonna finish. And I'm gonna prove to myself that I can do something that's hard that maybe I didn't want to do, and I accomplished it. And that great feeling
makes you proud.
Comes with that sense of achievement. Yeah.
I can guarantee there's an identity analogy in there somewhere. We'll find out by the end of this episode.
But as far as my son, he is 15 and he just surpassed me in his skill and ability to mountain bike. And that's a little hard for me to take, but also it's the most proud moment.
We spoke about this, right? Because I have an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old son, daughter. And I remember exactly the day when my son surpassed me in skiing. I said, man, I'm chasing this guy now, and he's super fast. He races too. And so how was that feeling? So do you remember, do you remember the day that, man, he surpassed me? Yep. And how did you feel?
Yeah, so he races. I coach their youth sports team, the mountain bike team. So we're always out racing together. But it was last year in the springtime, and we did a race together like before his season started. And we went out together, and it was going to be both of us at the same time for the first time. And we're okay, this is it. Let's see who's fastest. And of course.
Oh, so you're actually racing him?
He started a little bit behind me, but it's all time based. So I came in first. I'm like, yes, I did it. And then he comes in after me, and his time is just a couple minutes faster. All right.
How did that make you feel?
So I was frustrated at first. That was like my initial reaction. Like, I want to be better than him. But then it was like the proudest moment.
Yeah, you're right.
My son is better than me at this, and now he's better than me at everything. Ping pong, we played that a lot. Golf, not even a shot. He was better
at identity. And interesting that.
I've taken him to work a few times. He is interested. He's like, you just sit on meetings all day and just talk. It's cooler than it looks, dude. I love what I do, and so I think he'll come around.
For me, it's the opposite. I think my kid thinks my job is cooler than it really is.
Yeah.
But I remember vividly, the sentiment of your offspring,
right,
surpassing me was it's a mix of anger, but also pride yeah, you feel good, but man, I'm getting old at the same time, right? And to that too. So I took my son to an identity conference for the first time in Toronto. We have the I Am Community Conference there,
Yeah.
and I brought him in. Man, I spoke about ITDR, and there was a bunch of other speakers, and I asked him, say, Lucas, do you remember anything about what was it? No.
Yeah.
But ITDR he didn't remember. But he said, I remember one thing about pixel tracking. So, okay, so I think the seed is there.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're talking about this community and how it is important, Anthony, right? So I want to ask you about this, how our community is different. And I'm talking about compared to other perhaps cybersecurity communities. I've never been part of other communities, but I think it's such a welcoming, but also diverse.
Right.
And that's my style too. I like to bring in people saying, hey, join us, it's gonna be fun. That's more the way I run my professional life. But what do you think about that, the diversity? I know you're a big advocate for that too. So tell us about a little bit, how can we make our community better?
Sure.
So if people listening or people watching us, so what do you think we could do better?
Yeah,
What could we improve?
I look at potential when I'm hiring for leaders or for anything else.
Okay.
And I just kind of think about myself first is when I'm going after that next role, I probably don't have the credentials for it. So I say, to that hiring manager, hey, just give me a shot.
Right.
And then pour into me and help me get better. Tell me where I can improve. And then when I get that shot and they do invest in me, I'll do anything. Will work so hard and be successful, but I can't be successful on my own. It's thanks to that manager that's making the investment and all the peers that are around me and the people that I work with. I'm never successful on my own. I don't know if any of us are.
Yes.
So I try to take a similar approach when I'm interviewing and when I'm hiring. So, I'll look at the resume and maybe they haven't had 10 years of identity and access management experience, but maybe they've got the potential to be that person that can be the identity and access management leader, to lead the access review team, or to lead the audit and compliance team, or lead the engineering team. And it really helps, I know that's harder to do when you're hiring from outside the company.
Yeah.
But when you have a diverse talent pipeline in the company already, and now you can go handpick who's the top performer on your team. It doesn't even have to be an identity or even cybersecurity.
Yeah.
It's who's your top performer, who has an interest in getting into this space, and who's gonna really work hard and try to learn. Pick that person and then invest in them, and the outcomes are clear.
Man, that hits home so many ways. I'm an immigrant, and I gotta thank everybody that took a shot on me, right? So hey, let's give this guy a shot.
Yep.
He doesn't even speak proper English, right? And you can imagine how, man, I'm not very confident as much as me, but and having that type of approach of diversity and say, okay, this guy is. Talent it could be hidden in so many ways, right? So what exactly would you look for? Because I know technology, we can all learn that.
Right.
So technical skills can be taught, can be learned. But what are the things that you look for when you are interviewing as a leader that's, okay, I'd rather prioritize this because this can change.
Right. So first is the track record in their prior role. Are they one of the top performers in their existing role? What is their manager's opinion of them? And so that for me is like one of the first things to look for. If they're already exceeding and excelling in their current role, then that means they have that passion and that desire to for more. And then I'm looking for kind of the leadership experience or leadership capacity. Not that they've been an experienced leader, but have you led projects? Are you the kind of that go-to person in the team where you're always taking your time to help other people, which may impact your own metrics? Let's say if you're on the help desk, for example, but you're helping other people, and so you're helping the team's metrics overall. So those are the kind of things that I'm looking for. And then basic stuff like problem solving, relationship building, and those kind of things.
So part of, and I had a conversation about this last night, but like when you look at that, right, and you talk about leadership, and in your position, you were saying that like, hey, take a shot on me, like invest in me, allow me to give me that opportunity. A lot of that requires a couple of things. One, you've got to be going into an organization that understands like leadership and understands that leading is not just because I have the title and I get to give you orders.
Right.
Leading is creating an environment where my job now is to make sure that you become the best Anthony that you could possibly be.
Exactly.
Right. And that's an investment on both sides. It's not just you working your butt off. It's that leader going, okay, this is Anthony, I'm going to put him in this position, and now I got to do everything I can do Like I always tell people, it's like a toddler, right? You go let them play, but it's like your job is like, move this, here's a sharp object, let me put these things on the door. Like I've got to create this path where you can go and grow, right? So when you look at that, how do you go about making sure that you're setting up your team? So when you want to bring somebody in, it's like, listen, I think this person's going to be a go-getter. They checked all your boxes, but also got to make sure like the playground I'm bringing them into is safe for them to grow, right? So how do you approach that?
Yeah, well, I like your analogy. It is a lot like kids, and not kids. It's a lot like raising children. Sorry, and clearly they're not children. But as a parent, I want to take care of my kids. I want to give them those opportunities.
You want to see them
to
succeed.
grow,
They want to see,
and to fail.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
And so, it's kind of like you're saying, creating that environment. So it's one, coming in and making that investment and saying, I'm going to help you grow. And part of that is helping them do the job at the same time. It's like doing it with them. So it's not a quick fix. It's not like I can hire somebody and they're gonna hit the ground running and now I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right.
I mean, that's great. And a lot of us, sometimes we have to hire for those things because we got to solve an urgent problem. But that's the first step, is I'm gonna do this job with you for 6 months. And then as you do that over and over again, now you have the culture where people are gonna be like, okay, you're my new manager. You've never done this before. I'm probably better at this than you are. But I had the opportunity that you've just been given. I'm gonna support you and I'm gonna help you grow. So now you've got the people that report to this new leader that are also supportive and trying to help them grow and wanna take the time to teach them. And using the access review example we talked about before, I just got dropped in it. There were so many people that taught me what access reviews were, what compliance was, what SOX was. They took hours out of their day to teach me. And so we want to build teams like that. And that's one of the great things about Cigna as an organization is that's the culture, is we want to sit down, we want to teach each other how things work so that way you can now support me in my growth.
And that's very rare, right? So especially if you think on the other side of the fence, on the vendor side, how much of internal competition exists versus collaboration. Say, I want to honestly see you succeed. That's not something we can take for granted. It's very rare, but I think more we see of that, more likelihood of success. How much of that do you think has impacted success of Cigna as an organization, for example?
Oh, for sure. I think it's a major impact for any organization that can invest in their people, because then the organization grows at a faster rate. The individuals may not grow quite as fast individually, but the organization is going to grow faster.
Did you have a specific impact? You mentioned culture, right? So as your team grew to 90 people, right? So how did you make culture stick, right? So as it grows, did you have like one-on-ones with every one of your reports? How did that go?
Yes, weekly one-on-ones with every one of my direct reports, before 4 leaders, and then a few individual.
90 meetings a week.
Well, they're not all reporting directly to me.
All right, okay.
Those are my direct reports. So they then they're split up. They have and they kind of follow the same approach, and it's we try to talk about put the relationship first. Like, yes, sometimes you just got to get into it.
It's about trust,
problems.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And the trust is so important, because I know you're going to solve the problems. My job as your manager is simply to remove the barriers. Like, where can I help? And sometimes, they'll come with me. I'm like, well, no, you could solve this problem. And then they do. And they're like, oh, and then now their confidence grows. And then they don't come to me for the next time they have a similar problem. So yeah, it's really kind of spending the time, sitting down with them, and then they do that with their team, and so now their team is growing. But you're right, sometimes it is really hard. We got an urgent audit requests that are coming through. We got to get those. So there are plenty of months and weeks where we just sit down. Okay, here's the agenda. Let's solve the problems and kind of get through it.
So is that so on the seasonality of identity governance? So did you see that flow?
Oh,
okay, that's what I get.
You got
bigger chunks, periods of crunch time, guys, versus okay, now it's cruising time. So how was that through all year, for example?
Yeah, no,
was it around audits?
Yeah, it was around the audit period. So with the companies, they issue the SOX and SOC reports at a very specific time. They cannot be late, and so when that due date's coming, we're all 100% audit and compliance focused on responding to the evidence.
How long at a time? And was it like a month?
Those are a couple months. Like they're like it's probably 3-4 month periods, and then it gets done, it's issued, and now we have time to breathe and all that.
Be ready for the next one.
Get ready for the next one.
Roll to the next one.
Sometimes it feels like it never stops.
Yeah,
but that's the cycle.
I want to shift real quickly back to identity security, because I want to ask you what. So given your definition, right, if you could wave a magic wand and say, okay, now I'm going to create this identity security team, what does it look like?
So I'd say figuring out how we incorporate with the SOC. So how do you get important alerts and important information to the operations, the cyber operations team, so that they can take the appropriate action? And the question is, do you build that in the identity team or the SOC team? And I think there's gonna be a partnership there. Is you need the team that's gonna build the tools and engineer those things, and then the team that's gonna kind of respond to the day-to-day issues.
Do you see like the personnel reporting into the identity security team? Do you see them taking on like some of like the stock responsibilities of that?
A little bit, yeah. I think because you got to do triage, right? Like what are the more urgent ones, and that's kind of where the maybe the thin line between ISPM and ITDR kind of blur.
Right.
What's the urgent? Wow, this is an issue we got to solve over now. Versus, oh, okay, there's a couple people that have this access that shouldn't. Let's work on how do we remediate that, but it doesn't need to be done this very minute.
No.
So yeah, that's a lot blur there.
Within the identity governance program that he ran, right? So if you had to remember perhaps the biggest learning through that journey, right?
Yeah.
So what was the biggest advice, the biggest thing that other leaders could benefit from, but also, I wouldn't say the biggest mistake, but something that in hindsight, maybe I would have avoided that.
Yeah, I would have made integrating with legacy systems, legacy application teams, much easier in the beginning. We waited a couple of years before we really, simplified it, because the approach early on was, we have this new tool, Saving ARS, and everybody's going to integrate into the tool, however they need to, and we'll get all the data, and that'll be great. And teams were slow to adopt that approach, and it makes sense. They've got business value that they need to deliver, and trying to spend months to integrate into this new tool probably isn't going to be a top priority. So, and it took us a little while to figure that out. So what we ended up doing instead was creating a template that they could send a report in, and then we would consume that automatically. So we created the template, they would automatically generate it, we would automatically consume it. And so now that's way, way easier. And we're talking things like who's the user, what do they have access to, what are the entitlements that grant access to your system, and then consuming that automatically. And we would have done that a little bit sooner. And then the other thing is with, like, for example, I'll use RBAC, is trying to follow the industry standards a little bit closer. I mean, we all customize everything, every company. It's just a normal thing. Oh, I needed to do this, I needed to do that. So using RBAC as an example, if I look at the 1,000-page CISSP book that I'm reading right now, is
Sean Harris?
RBAC. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a good read.
Yeah.
The intent of RBAC is least privilege, which means you've got, let's say 3 teams. This team does, development. This team does engineering. This team does something else. So you build them a role, and they all get that role, and they all do exactly what that role gives them. But what happens when you've got one person on that team that maybe needs a little bit additional access that everybody else doesn't? Do you grant that outside of the role? Do you create a brand new role? And then now multiply that by tens of thousands of teams or people and thousands of teams. Now you have sprawl. Now you either have way too many roles that you can manage, or you have people that are in roles and have access outside of roles that's too hard to manage.
Yep.
So you can't, it's really hard to apply the kind of the standards and the framework at scale. And so trying to figure that out ahead of time, I think would have been something I would like to do.
I think it's because, so it's interesting you bring up RBAC, right? And I love the fact that you read the CSCP with Sean Harris, because when you touched on the fact that I think a lot of people miss when they go into RBAC, is that the purpose of RBAC was to do least privilege.
Exactly.
Right? And what we as an industry tied to was, what's the construct we're using to go implement that purpose? And we said, well, this is how we're gonna do it. It's like, no, go back. And it's like, the purpose is least privilege. So in areas like that, when you go, hey, I'm gonna segment out, and here are the roles, right? And I think it's gonna be a lot easier now because we can process data, we can do more things with analytics, right? We can actually take advantage of ML. You don't have to be a math scientist to be able to do ML now, but like, you can take those interesting things and go, okay, listen, for 76% of the time, this is what this role looks like, right? And the other part, like, you can easily provision dynamically or on the fly as they need it, but you still keep the role intact, because the whole point is the role is there to enforce the policy of least privilege.
Right.
It's not there to be a construct that lives forever, that you have to go and change. And then we created this whole life cycle around it. Like, that's really like the biggest thing that we messed up with roles, is that we read it and was like, okay, great, now we're gonna go do this. And it's like, that wasn't the point.
Yeah.
But it's hard to roll back from that.
It's almost like
No pun intended.
skipping that step, right? A super important step, which is the purpose.
Yeah.
And Anthony, man, so much fun to catch up with you and share some of that amazing experience that you had in the industry with our audience here. On that note, to what David just said, right? So in an ML and all AI stuff, I have a couple final questions here.
Sure.
Realistically, we're in 2025. In your organization, or perhaps the way you see the future of identity, right? So what's realistic today in terms of AI in identity? And second question is, what your thoughts are on e-bikes, electric bikes?
Oh, okay. That's very controversial. The electric bikes.
No question. Which question is more controversial?
Yeah. So AI. So yeah, I mean, we're kind of seeing it in the chat bots and different things like that. But it was just at a keynote where they were talking about a video game analogy. You know, like Ready Player One.
A lot of analogies.
Right. You've got the people, and then you've got the artificial intelligence. And he used the ISPM, the ITDR. Who are you going to be your players, and how are you going to partner with AI?
Is that player one, player two?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then who's the person, and then who's
Mario, who's Luigi?
Right. Yeah. So using that analogy, so I really appreciated that. So I think it's trying to partner to solve those problems and maybe the tedious tasks. And that's really what I'd like to solve is the data quality. So for example, you've got entitlements, because at the end of the day, you want to figure out where's the risk. So who has the risky access? Well, how do you know what is risky access? Like, sure, there's the obvious domain admins.
Yeah.
But what about to an application that has this entitlement that maybe doesn't really mean anything to you? So it's, can AI figure that out? Can it tell you these are the entitlements and this is what they do? They have read-write privileges and this is what's the risk? Figure that out, and then now we can make better decisions on who really needs to have that access. That makes the access reviews more accessible and more effective. That makes provisioning more effective, because now managers can make those right decisions to say, I have the information I need to decide if this person needs this information or not. So on the e-bikes question, I think e-bikes are awesome. When I'm a little older and can't cycle the way I want to, I'm absolutely going to get an e-bike, and I'm going to continue to crush it until I just can't pedal anymore.
I think I need them now.
Yeah, you think so? Okay. That's okay.
Anthony, I had lots of fun. Right?
Yeah, great having you, bro.
This is great. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Anthony Viggiano, man.
Yeah, dude, that dude's amazing, man.
It is fun that we talk about things. He's doing things.
Yeah, no, I love everything about like his outlook, like how he was able to come in and learn and grow. And now like I think here was the most impressive thing, like his confidence in what he wants to do next. You can tell he's been
clarity of the vision.
Yes, that's even better. It's not even confidence, it's clarity of vision. I love that, right? Yeah. He's very clear on what he wants to build, how he wants to go. That dude's gonna be an amazing leader, man. Or he already is an amazing leader, but I'm just very impressed. Love to see somebody like that in the identity field.
And such a nice guy, awesome. Right? So when I think about building teams and running complex things like governance, I mean, you want good people around you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds tough.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.